Friends and family are the worst place to get advice. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 reasons that's true, and also half a dozen ways that you can find exactly the help you're looking for. And some of the places might be right under your nose. So here's the thing. Most people think that their friends and family, because they know them so well, are clearly going to be the best places to ask somebody for business advice or relationship advice or anything that's going on in your life. Obviously, these people have your best interest at heart, right? Sadly, that's the furthest thing from the truth. And so what I want to talk about in this video is why those closest to you are almost always the worst people to get advice from, and also how do we go about finding those people? Or if we do think the people closest to us are a great fit, how do we go about vetting them in a way that maybe they don't know you're doing, but is going to give you a lot of feedback you can use to make sure you're asking the right questions to the right people? We talk about sharing move up goals and give up goals with 2 very different sets of people, right? So if you're going to give up cake, there's a certain group of people that you share that with because they are going to be the first ones to tell you, hey, don't shove that piece of cake in your mouth. You're on a diet, right? If you're sharing move up goals with somebody, sometimes your best friends are the ones that don't want you to achieve that goal. And there's a lot of psychology behind that, but the easiest way to put it to you is everybody wants you to do well, just not better than them. So I think as I say that, you can probably imagine some people that is very true for in your life. So let's talk about the 3 ways that this is true. First one is bias, and this goes 2 different ways. And I'm going to give you 2 different examples from my own life. Right after college, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, and didn't know a soul for 500 miles. I just knew it was way warmer than Michigan, and I had my own business at the time, and it was easy enough to move. It was not brick and mortar. It was all online at that time. So I moved to Charleston, and my friend that, I love cars, so I ran into this guy named Zach, and he ended up being my buddy in town. So he helped me move, he helped me set up stuff, we went to car shows, we did all those things. Well, a few months in, Zach says he's gonna move to Texas, of all places. And I can tell you now, with just a few more decades of reflection, that I probably didn't give Zach the best advice when he told me about this move. Why? I didn't want to lose my friend. He was the one guy that I had met in town so far, and he was about to leave and take a job opportunity in another state. I was going to lose my friend. So the advice, while I want what is best for Zach, or did want what was best for Zach, I also didn't want to lose Zach. So my advice is going to be clearly biased in that way. The other way is, I moved to the mountains when I sold my last business last year. And I can tell you the advice I got from friends, while well-meaning, and that's the worst kind of advice, it was scattered. And it was, you're crazy, you're going to hate it up there, all of these things. And the vast majority of them had nothing to do with what was best for me. Had they been listening to the words coming out of my mouth, they knew I was ready to get out of the city. It was, they're going to lose me as their friend. I'm not going to be able to come to the parties. I'm not, whatever the thing is, it's advice to serve them, not necessarily to serve me. And that doesn't mean that there's ill will from any of these people. It's literally just the way we're wired. So number 2, limited perspective. And if you watch Jim Cramer on CNBC, the stock guy, crazy guy, hits the buttons, has all the bells and everything, he'll give you stock advice and he'll say, go buy Amazon stock. It's at this price, it's a great deal, go buy it, you're gonna make a ton of money. Perspective really matters here. Here's why. If I'm 18 years old and I've got $1,000 in the bank, maybe it's a good buy, maybe it isn't. Same stock, same value, same information from the company as a whole. Maybe that's good for me, maybe it isn't. If I'm a 40-year-old father with 4 kids, and I'm gonna retire in 15 or 20 years, and I've gotta put 3 of those kids through college soon, maybe it's a good buy, maybe it isn't. If I'm a 75-year-old widow and I have a limited time horizon and I need guaranteed money, it could be the best stock in the world, but there's still a chance it could go to 0. Same stock, same information, maybe it's a good deal, maybe it isn't. The perspective matters. So when you go to someone, I'm an entrepreneur. Most of my friends are entrepreneurs. When I go to a friend who works in the government or works for corporate, he's going to give me very different advice through his life's lens. When I say, hey, I've got this idea for this business, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to give all the money away to a foundation. Mind blown, right? He's not going to understand. He doesn't have the whole picture. And even if he did, he's going to look at it through his lens of corporate America and climbing a corporate ladder, not my lens of entrepreneurship and knowing what I'm able to wrap around me in a short period of time to get some crazy new idea done, because that's been my experience for the last 30 years. So the perspective of the person you're asking is really, really important. And it's just important to know who those people are. That kind of goes back to that number one. And we're going to give you some tools here at the end you can use, they're all free, that you can use to kind of weed out your friend group without them really knowing what you're doing. It's kind of cool. We're watching it work in our groups and in our mastermind. So I'm excited for you to use it and give me your feedback. Emotional attachment, that's number 3. This really comes down to kind of a tough love scenario. Think about when your wife comes to you for advice, or your husband, or your business partner, or your best friend, and you know what's best for them, but you also know it's going to cause a fight. You might know it's not what they want to hear, and they're going to take that out on you. Most of us are not able to accept criticism. We talk about that in a little bit. But you're going to give different advice to somebody that you know that advice and how it's received is going to impact you in a certain way. If your partner comes and says, "Do these jeans make me look fat?" and you say, "No, you make you look fat. The jeans are fine." That might be the information they need to go to stop eating that cake, remember? But it may put you in a little bit of hot water. Might not be the best thing to do in that scenario. So again, self-preservation, and you're giving them advice that may not be the best advice for them as a person because of your interaction with each other. So that emotional attachment goes two ways. We will do anything to avoid pain and gain pleasure. So think about that when you're asking for advice for someone close to you. You are doing that, and they are doing that in return. So with that said, what do we do about it? The free tools, I want to give you those. I'm not going to be that guy that waits till the very end, although I would stick around because my favorite one, of course, is the last one. But if you go to milliondollarflipflops.com, there's resources. There's a tab for resources. We have 2 different tools. We have Core Value Starter Kit, which you can do or not do. It's part of our Waves method. It's completely free. Just kind of gets you started on that journey, whether you've read the book or not, or come to our courses or not. It's just a free tool. But there's a tool that goes along with that called the Waves 360. And here's what's neat about this. All the directions are right in it. So you download it. First 2 pages are for you. Last 2 pages are for whoever you give it to. We recommend you give it to 15 people. 2 things are going to happen. You say, "Hey, I'm doing this course. The instructor," you blame it on me. "The instructor wants me to hand these out. It's super simple. It takes 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes?" That's the first email or the first thing you ask. How many people are going to respond? You're asking for a genuine help from your friend, business associate, whoever it is. "Hey, I need 5 minutes of your time for this thing I'm working on to better myself. Can you help me?" Sure, everybody has their own things going on in their life, and they have everyone has an excuse. But there's people that are going to help you, and there are people that are not. And I did a whole other video, which we will link to here, called Cheerleader versus Supporter. And you're going to learn out very quickly the difference between those two when you hand them this tool. Now, the ones who do send it back, they're in a category. The people who didn't have time for you, they're in a different category. Right, wrong, or indifferent. There's nothing wrong with these people. It's just helping you filter who you're going to take decisions to in the future, who you're going to ask for advice. So now you have these 2 buckets. Of the people that send it back to you, if you've done the Core Value Starter Kit, or even if you've just done the 360 for yourself, you're going to start to notice things in there that are similarities, dissimilarities, trends. And it'll make a lot more sense when you download it. But it is a tool that is going to kind of filter who your friends are and who you should go to for advice really easily without you saying like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about the advice you've been giving me." You don't have to do that. That's silly. So that's number 1. Number 2, accept criticism. And oh man, is this a hard one for me. And even now it's incredibly difficult, but when you ask for advice and someone does give you that tough love, that is probably your best person you need to be asking for these things. And here's why. Most people aren't going to do that for all the reasons we talked to before, but when they do, if you bark back, you're going to lose that person. They're never going to give you that honest advice again. Why? Pleasure, pain. We already talked about that as well. Accept criticism. Seek first to understand. When you reframe and you rephrase the thing that's coming at you, again, whether you agree or not, and you meet it with complete emotional neutrality, you'll start to get more of that feedback. And in all reality, that is the best feedback you can be receiving. You still run it through your filter. If you do the Waves method, you're part of our other groups in the book, you still run it through the Waves method, but you're going to start to surround yourself with people that are giving you the feedback you really need. Get outside help. Clearly, I'm biased. I believe that everyone should have a coach. I have a coach, even though I am a coach. Every great in every industry, in every sport, doesn't matter what it is, has a coach or a team of coaches. And I'm not going to go into all the reasons why a coach is a good idea. We will just say the world's best eye surgeon does not perform surgery on his own eye, because you cannot see the label from inside the bottle. And you'll see when you go through the core value starter kit, if you pick that up, and then especially the 360, what you see in yourself versus what other people see in you are sometimes vastly different things. And so you have to have somebody, it's videotaping your golf swing. You have to have somebody looking from the outside in at these things. So finally, my favorite, join a mastermind. At $1 Million Flip Flops, we have 2 different levels of mastermind. We have our weekly Waves community call, which goes along with anybody who's read the book, gone through the courses, has the journal, kind of the second layer of anything you do with us. And then we have our much more expensive Mastermind, which is limited to 20 people. It is on a rolling application basis. And there's a bunch of reasons for this, but I'm personally in 3 different masterminds, and they range from $97 a month all the way up to $30,000 a year. And they all serve a very different purpose for me. And it's a very different, I don't want to say quality or caliber of individual in there, but you get different advice and different insights from somebody that's paying $2,500 a month to be in a group. And ours isn't that expensive, but someone who's paying $2,500 a month to be in a group versus a free group on the internet or Reddit or even a $100 a month group, it's just a different type of individual. And it's typically somebody that understands that they're never going to outpace their investment in themselves. So I urge you, we live in this digital world where you and I may never met or may never meet, but we feel like we know each other. I feel like I know a ton of people online that I'm never going to meet. In my coaching groups and at Brown and all the others, a lot of my clients, I may never meet in person. So we live in this digital age where you don't have to find your core group in your neighborhood or even in your city. So you can go way outside of your friends and family and find that really niche group of people who understand your unique language, who understand the journey you're on, who understand where you want to go as a person, as a partner, as a business person, whatever the thing is. You find that group. And it may be my group, it may not. Most people are going to be for what we do here. It's a very specific thing, and that's the idea. Not every group is for everyone. And typically what I've found is the more expensive it is, the more I get out of it. 1, because I show up, because I'm paying so much. What a concept. But 2, the other people that are in there are also paying that much. So again, you're never going to outpace your level of self-development as a person. So go out there, find your group, whoever it is, go to $1millionflipflops.com, email me directly, ask me about our groups. I would be happy to share more. But go out and find those people and use the tools, use the core values workshop, use the Waves 360 method, and just report back. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, email me individually if you're that shy type who doesn't like to put their stuff all over the internet. I would love to know what you find from doing these couple little exercises. So until next time, we'll see you on the journey.